Most people with a pension think they're in great shape going into retirement. And honestly, they should be. A guaranteed monthly check, no market risk, income for life. It sounds like the dream. But here is something almost nobody warns pension holders about, and it directly affects your IRA, your Medicare premiums, and your taxes. If you have both a pension and a traditional IRA, and you haven't done anything specific to address what I'm about to explain, the IRS is almost certainly going to take a bigger cut of your retirement income than you're expecting. Not because you did anything wrong, because nobody explained how these two income sources collide with each other. In the next 15 minutes, I'm going to show you exactly what that collision looks like, why it catches so many retirees off guard at age 73, and the 3 things you can do right now before age 73 to protect yourself. Let's put some real numbers on this so you can see why this matters specifically to you. Let's say you're 67 years old. You've got a pension paying you $2,400 a month. That's $28,800 a year. You're also taking Social Security, maybe $1,800 a month, or $21,600 a year. And you've got a traditional IRA sitting at $320,000. Right now, you're comfortable. Your pension and Social Security cover most of your bills. You're barely touching your IRA. Maybe you pull out a little here and there. Here's what almost nobody tells you. At age 73, the IRS forces you to start taking money out of that IRA every single year, whether you want to or not. This is called an RMD, a required minimum distribution. At age 73, with a $320,000 IRA balance, the IRS requires you to withdraw roughly $12,048 that first year. That's calculated using IRS Publication 590B's Uniform Lifetime Table, which assigns a distribution period of 26.5 years at age 73. Now here's where the collision happens. You add that $12,048 to your $28,800 pension and your $21,600 Social Security. Your total income suddenly jumps to over $62,000 a year. And that number, $62,000, pushes you past the threshold where 85% of your Social Security benefits become taxable. That's not a rule most retirees know about until it hits them. And then there's Medicare, because 2 years after your income crosses $103,000 as a married couple or $85,000 as a single filer, you start paying IRMAA surcharges on top of your Medicare Part B and Part D premiums. IRMAA stands for Income-Related Monthly Adjustment Amount. And in 2025, those surcharges can add anywhere from $70 to $419 extra per person per month. Let me say that again, per person per month. For a couple, that's potentially $838 in additional Medicare costs every single month on top of your regular premiums. This isn't bad luck. This is the income stacking collision, and it happens to pension holders more than almost any other group of retirees. Because your pension income never goes away. It fills your tax bracket from the bottom up every year. And when RMDs start at 73, there's nowhere left to put them without triggering consequences. The good news? There are 3 strategies that fix this, but they only work if you use them before age 73. Here's what we're covering today. Number 1, why your pension is quietly shrinking the tax space your IRA needs. Number 2, the Roth conversion window that's specifically designed for pension holders and exactly when it closes. Number 3, what to do this year before December 31st to reduce the damage before it locks in. Let's start with number 1. Section 1, the bottom fill problem, how your pension eats your tax bracket. Here's something that works beautifully when you're working and works against you in retirement. The U.S. income tax system is progressive, meaning the first dollars you earn are taxed at the lowest rates, and higher dollars get taxed at higher rates. When you're working, your salary fills up those lower brackets. You retire, the salary goes away, and suddenly those lower brackets are wide open. Except if you have a pension, they're not open. Your pension fills those lower tax brackets right back up, every single year, automatically, starting on day one of retirement. Let's say you're married, filing jointly in 2025. The 12% federal tax bracket runs from $23,201 up to $94,300. Your pension pays $28,800 a year. Your Social Security adds $21,600. That's $50,400 before you ever touch your IRA. Now, the 12% bracket only has about $43,900 of space left before you hit the 22% bracket. When your RMD of $12,048 hits at age 73 and pushes your income to $62,448, you've still got room. But here's the problem. Your IRA balance doesn't stay at $320,000. If markets grow at even a modest 5% average annually, which is below the S&P 500's historical average of around 10%, your $320,000 IRA grows to roughly $476,000 by the time you turn 73. And the RMD on a $476,000 balance at age 73, that's $17,962 in your first year. Add that to your pension and Social Security, and your income is now $68,362. You've crossed into the 22% bracket. And 85% of your Social Security, $18,360 of it, is now fully taxable as ordinary income. So to summarize this part, your pension is not just income, it's a tax bracket anchor. And it doesn't move. Every dollar of RMD that lands on top of it gets taxed at higher rates than it would for someone without a pension. But here's where it gets more complicated and more fixable. Because the window to change this doesn't stay open forever, and most people don't realize exactly how narrow it is. Before we continue, please show some free love and support by hitting the like button and let me know your opinion, thoughts, or any questions if you have. I reply every single comment, and I would be very happy to help, because this channel is built specifically to help retirees. Now, let's move on. Section 2. The Roth Conversion Window, your most powerful tool between now and 73. There's a specific stretch of years that financial planners call the conversion window. For pension holders, this window runs roughly from age 63 to 72. Here's why it matters. Before age 63, you're either still working or recently retired. Income might still be elevated, not ideal for conversions. Before age 65, Medicare hasn't started yet. Once you turn 65, your income in any given year can trigger IRMAA surcharges 2 years later because Medicare uses a 2-year look-back. So if your income is high in 2025, Medicare looks at that number in 2027 to set your premiums. But here's what makes the conversion window special for pension holders specifically. Most retirement advice about Roth conversions assumes the viewer has very low income in early retirement, a quiet gap before Social Security and RMDs kick in. So they tell you to convert as much as you can cheaply in that window. That advice is based on a different situation than yours. If you have a pension, you may not have that quiet low-income window. Your pension income is already sitting in the lower brackets. You can still convert, but you have to be strategic about how much you convert per year so you don't push yourself into a higher bracket or trigger IRMAA. Here's what a smart pension holder's conversion plan can look like. Married couple, both 66. Pension income, $28,800. Social Security deferred until 70. IRA balance, $320,000. Because Social Security hasn't started yet, their income is only $28,800. The top of the 22% bracket for married filing jointly in 2025 is $201,050. They can convert up to roughly $65,500 from their traditional IRA to a Roth IRA this year and stay entirely within the 22% bracket. They pay the tax now at 22% on that conversion. Why would they do that? Because at age 73, without this conversion, that same money gets withdrawn as an RMD and taxed at 22% anyway, but now with Social Security on top, potentially pushing them into 25% and triggering IRMAA. By converting now, while Social Security isn't yet in the picture, they shrink their IRA balance, which shrinks their future RMDs, which keeps their income under the IRMAA threshold, which saves them potentially $838 a month in Medicare premiums starting in their mid-70s. Over 10 years, that's over $100,000 in avoided Medicare surcharges alone. Now here's where most people stop paying attention, and that's the most expensive mistake in this entire topic. Because what I just described is the setup, the conversion math. But there's a second problem with pension plus IRA situations that even good financial advisors regularly miss. And it has to do with what happens if you don't convert and you die before your spouse does. Stay with me, because this is the part that protects the people you love. Section 3. The Widow Tax Trap. What happens to your IRA when one of you is gone? This is a conversation most couples don't have, and it's the reason I wanted to make this video specifically for pension holders. Here's what happens. When one spouse passes away, the surviving spouse's tax filing status changes from married filing jointly to single. This happens in the year after the death. The difference is significant. In 2025, the 22% bracket for married filing jointly runs from $94,301 to $201,050. For a single filer, the 22% bracket runs from $47,151 to $100,525. That's roughly half the size. The pension doesn't stop. Many pensions pay a survivor benefit, often 50 to 75% of the original amount. Let's say the survivor still receives $2,000 a month in pension income. That's $24,000 a year. Social Security for the surviving spouse typically shifts to the higher of the two benefits. Let's say that's $2,100 a month, $25,200 a year. Income before any IRA withdrawal is $49,200. They are already above the $44,000 threshold where 85% of Social Security is taxable as a single filer. Now add an RMD from the inherited or original IRA. At age 75, on a $250,000 balance, that RMD is approximately $10,870. Income jumps to $60,070. They are in the 22% bracket as a single filer. Almost 85% of their Social Security is taxable, and any additional income from selling a home, a one-time distribution, anything, immediately triggers IRMAA. This is not a worst-case scenario. This is the median outcome for a surviving spouse who has a pension, a Social Security benefit, and an IRA they never got around to converting. The tool that prevents this is the same Roth conversion strategy we just discussed, but it has to happen before age 73. It has to happen while both spouses are alive and while the income can be managed jointly. And the window to do that is smaller than you might think, because there are 3 specific moves that only work before your first RMD deadline. After you finish watching this, here are 3 specific things I want you to do this week. Number 1, pull your IRA balance and calculate your estimated first RMD. Go to irs.gov and search RMD worksheet. Use your current IRA balance and the Uniform Lifetime Table in IRS Publication 590-B. Divide your balance by the distribution period for your age. That number is your projected RMD. See where it lands on top of your pension and Social Security. Does it push you above $44,000 combined income as a married couple? Does it push you past $103,000, the IRMAA threshold? If the answer is yes, you have a planning problem that's solvable right now. Number 2, calculate your available tax bracket space this year. Take your expected income for 2025, pension, any Social Security you're receiving, any part-time income, subtract that from the top of the 22% federal tax bracket for your filing status, $94,300 for married filing jointly. Whatever's left is the space you could potentially fill with a Roth conversion this year without moving into the 25% bracket. Even converting $20,000 to $30,000 per year over the next 5 to 7 years can meaningfully shrink your future RMDs and protect your surviving spouse. Number 3, if you haven't already, talk to a CPA who specializes in retirement income before December 31st of this year. Roth conversions must be completed by December 31st to count for that tax year. There's no extension. If you miss the window, you miss the window. A CPA who understands the IRMAA 2-year lookback and the pension bracket fill issue can help you find exactly the right conversion amount for your situation. None of this is complicated once you see it. The problem is that nobody sits down and shows pension holders this specific combination. Your HR department shows you the pension math. Social Security sends you your benefit estimate. Nobody puts the 3 income sources on the same piece of paper and shows you where the collision happens. Now you've seen it. Before you go, I want to hear from you. Do you have both a pension and a traditional IRA? And have you started thinking about Roth conversions yet, or is this the first time you're hearing about the conversion window? Drop your answer in the comments. I read every single one, and I'll give you a more specific answer where I can. If this helped you see something you hadn't seen before, subscribe. And if you want to understand how to retire at 50 and a half with 10% penalty, that video is linked right here. Thanks for watching, and I will see you there.